At the NAFB convention in Kansas City, and our broadcast being brought to you in part by Annabis Silo of Duran, the Animal Wellness Center, Buffalo Valley, also the Ann Thompson Insurance Agency of Mondovi, BASF, Growth Energy, and Comro Sales and Service. I'm with Chandler Goule. He is Senior Vice President of Programs with National Farmers Union. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Goule program, Country of Origin Labeling. Chandler, thanks for joining us. Obviously, World Trade Organization. When I've talked with Roger Johnson, president of NFU, before the ruling came out, the new rules should pass. We should be okay. The new rules didn't pass, and so we're kind of back to square one.
Well, we're kind of back to square one in a little bit, but really what we're finding out is each time that we have an appeal decision come back, the scope is getting more and more narrow. So really what we're seeing is the U.S. is heading in the right direction. If you look from the last appeal, it said that the label was misleading, it was inaccurate, it wasn't telling the consumer exactly what the product was. And so we came back and said, the USDA came back and said it had to say born, raised, and harvested. This appeal came back and a decision came back and said, that's good, but there's still it's still unequal between what the producer is doing, having to put out, and what the information that we're relaying to the consumers. So each of these appeals narrows the scope. We are encouraging the USDA and USTR. We still have another appeal left in our portfolio for the WTO. So this is not over. I think we can come to an agreement at some point, but we are encouraging another appeal, which will push this into late 2015. Regardless of what the other side is saying, retaliation is not happening tomorrow. We have several more months.
You mentioned that retaliation, so really there can't be any retaliation until this third and final appeal is done, correct?
It's actually this third and final appeal. Then you have to go through a retaliation review. That can be appealed, and then retaliation can be implemented. So if the WTO worked perfectly, which it never does because it's backlogged, nothing could happen until pretty much the end of the third quarter or the very end of 2015. But with the appeal, this next round of appeals, we see that we'll narrow that scope, and then we'll be able to continue to move forward so that consumers know where their food comes from. That's what this is all about. Consumers are asking for more and more information, and we have a right to tell them. And my cattlemen are proud of what they produce.
I know that there's a lot of folks, obviously from Canada and Mexico, that are saying, okay, but it's unfair to us, and it's being used as a trade barrier.
So here's the question actually, it's not a question. Country of origin labeling itself is not a trade barrier. Country of origin labeling, it does not prevent the product from coming into the United States. All it asks is that it be labeled. And when you talk about all the other different products that are labeled, think about black certified Angus, think about Rancher's Choice, grass-fed, antibiotic-free. All of that is segregated. So to pinpoint one and say, ooh, Goule's the one that's costing all the money, that they segregate for over 18 to 19 different type of brand programs. And so Goule is not a trade barrier. It is there for information.
So when are you hoping to, or when are you expecting, when is NFU expecting USDA to come out with the revised rule?
Well, I'm not so sure they're going to come out with the revised rule. We are currently still meeting with USDA. We'll be meeting with USTR, I believe, next week, and encouraging them to appeal. Right now, even if the USDA was to come out with another rule, the appeal will be based on the 2013 rule. So we can improve it and improve it and improve it, but that time period is now closed. So what we need to do is come back and add more facts and make sure that we point out why the 2013 rule is compliant and why retaliation is not necessary. And I think you'll be able to find more information coming out of NFU in the next coming weeks. We are putting information together that will definitely demonstrate the economic impact and the bloated numbers that Canada has put out.
Chandler, again, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
That is Chandler Goule. He is a Senior Vice President of Programs with National Farmers Union from the NAFB Convention in Kansas City. I'm Brian Winnicott.